think I did it. Right. Hello. It's me, that badger guy, and I'm all dressed up in me Mandalorian armor, because I'm here with this one.
Hello.
See, that's how you do an entrance.
It is. That's one hell of an entrance.
That's how you do an entrance.
How about I go really black?
Oh no. That's how you do an entrance when all you got is StreamYards.
Yeah, that's how you do it. I go,
oh no.
I'm not washed out anymore.
You've been grey gooed.
I'm a fucking ghost.
You've been grey gooed.
Grey goo. I can do ghost like Dave does. Fading
That's not bad, actually.
This is kind of cool with that background.
Yeah, it's alright.
Or I could just feel a little green.
We should just go live with us faffing around with the camera settings.
I thought we were live with the camera, me faffing around.
We are live with the camera set. I mean, we should just leave it like that. We just sit here and faff with camera
hang
settings.
on. There you go.
Oh dear. Well, this is not good. you changed the colour so much it disconnected you.
Where are we?
Okay.
Yeah, I have totally screwed up these colours, but hey, no one cares.
Yeah, it's
fine. That'll do. Yeah, I broke it, Dave. I really did. I was fucking around with trying to make the green screen work better and getting my lighting better. And I've screwed up something in the registry and have completely buggered the registry settings for my webcam.
Yep, that's what you get.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to this. Yeah, that looks a bit better.
So, how is you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
In fact, yes.
You're in fact a yes.
Yeah.
You're a yes.
Doing all right. I'm doing all right actually today. I'm having a reasonable day. So, what should we talk about?
What should we talk about? Well,
I put sci-fi in the title.
We put sci-fi in the title because we were going to have a bitch about Star Wars, weren't we?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, do we start with who's the whiniest character, including the weird ass Disney ones? Who's the whiniest character in Star Wars?
I object to the framing of this question.
I knew you would. That's why I made it.
Because I feel dirty just applying the title of Star Wars to those Disney things, so I refuse.
Yeah, but Mandalorian is Disney.
Yeah, and I don't consider it part of Star Wars for that reason.
You should, though, because it is very Star Warsy.
I'm enjoying. I enjoyed at least I enjoyed the first season of it, but
yeah,
it's not part of Star Wars because it's linked.
Let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that it is.
No. Let's.
Those movies were.
Don't do that.
Oh well, in that case, who is the outs? If you're not going to count Disney at all. Who is the whiniest character in Star Wars?
I will discuss Disney, but just not linked to the good stuff.
Well, all right. Well, let's separate them. In normal Star Wars,
are we talking about good Star Wars right now?
In Star Wars as George Lucas intended it. Who is the whiniest character?
Now, do you want to include?
Certainly in the mix.
Do you want to include the expanded universe?
Yeah, I think we can include the expanded universe. Why not?
Right.
I mean, as I said, Luke's definitely in the mix. I don't know if he's entirely the whiniest character. A couple of the young Padawans in some of the cartoon like Clone Wars and that, are quite fucking whiny themselves. So
Yeah, I tend to discount large portions of the Clone Wars for reasons I can get into later. But let's see. I'm gonna go with. I'm going to go with Viceroy Gunray of the Trade Federation.
oh yeah, I mean they really did go on the fucking wine, didn't they?
Yeah.
All of them. You never said anything. Yeah, they were like Trump.
Yeah, somehow not as racist. Right. So
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
that
Anakin as a teenager was pretty whiny.
yeah.
Oh, I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Why can't I be a Jedi now? I'm better than Obi-Wan Kenobi.
To be fair, a lot of people criticize Hayden Christensen for his portrayal of Anakin in that time period. However, I think it's exactly perfect, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Anakin is in this time period. He is a teenager who has never been taught to actually understand his emotions. He's only been taught to suppress them, as the Jedi are supposed to.
Yeah.
He is dealing with all kinds of shit because he was taken from his mother at an age when, you know how they say, he's too old to be in the training.
Yeah.
He was old enough to have formed a very strong bond with his mother, which he then chose to step away from in order to go with Qui-Gon. And then he's got a constant internal battle about that decision. And he's in love with someone that the Order says he can't be in love with. I think, portrayed him. Yeah, I think portrayed the emotions of that very well.
Oh no, I've got no qualms with Hayden Christensen. I think he's actually a brilliant actor.
For someone who has no idea how to express these things and has to constantly hide them from people who have a telepathic ability to sense them, I think he portrayed that conflicted nature very well. Also, Anakin's a whiny bitch.
He is. He's a whiny bitch. but that is his character is meant to be that whiny bitch. I think that is really meant to be part of his character. He's always, if he wasn't complaining about the situation he was in, he would never have got to where he was.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't like the process that got him to where he was. I think Lucas could have done a much better job of.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Of Revenge of the Sith.
There were definitely some bits that were a bit funky in those prequels. But
yeah. I mean, like, hang on. Why is he getting all shitty at this point? Yeah. Well, what the fuck? Why has he even turned? I mean, he goes and tells the Jedi that he's figured out who the Sith Lord is, and then he suddenly turns the other way just because I need them to save Padme. No.
I think
the white is right, but he's not a fucking idiot.
Part of the explanation for that was that Windu didn't take him with him. Yeah, his kind of plan was more along the lines of, well, I'll go and I'll tell the Jedi about this thing, and then they'll go along, and I'll go with them, and we can deal with this. And then it goes, oh, he still doesn't fucking trust me, even though I've told him that this fucker's the Sith Lord. Well, fuck you. Which is still a bit convoluted.
Yeah, it's not even... Yeah. I mean...
Spoilers, by the way. Just people in the audience who may not have seen.
We are ruining the movie here. But yeah, I found that there were so many other things that could have come out that pushed him over the edge. and I'd have found that the storyline was just way too convoluted, even by George Lucas's standards. Having said that, if you want to talk convoluted,
Uh-huh.
Rise of Skywalker. I understand. I mean, I know we're not treating it as true Star Wars. We're treating it as fan fiction.
Bad fan fiction at that. Now, right. Let me tell you something about this. You have the prequels, right? And the prequels are a little bit convoluted. You know, you could even argue in places they're a little bit convoluted. However, at least the events in them line up with what is supposed to fucking happen.
Yeah, even if they don't make sense, they line up.
At least when George started, he knew where the end point was.
Yes. And he had a plan. And he still had a plan for the ones afterwards, and Disney said, yeah, we're going to do our own thing. So I think that's the bit that annoys me the most. We're going to do our own bit.
So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the Rise of Skywalker. It's fucking awful.
It truly is, isn't it?
I mean, absolutely atrocious.
But it's atrocious. I'm of the opinion here that it is particularly atrocious because J.J. Abrams had to try and do so much to fix how atrocious the movie before was.
All right, let me put it this way: in terms of the quality of the sequels. So, here's what we have: we have The Force Awakens. It's an okay film. It's a perfectly serviceable film as long as you remove Star Wars from it. If you consider,
I will disagree with you there, Badger. I actually felt like it was okay as a Star Wars movie, as long as they'd picked up the threads correctly and moved on from there to expand into it. You know, but the problem was when the next movie came out, everything that was built up in that first movie was fucking ignored.
I will disagree with you there because expanded universe purist. So,
yeah, I know you're an expanded universe purist, but I'm just saying if you ignore the expanded universe for just a small fraction of time and assume that The Force Awakens had come out without the expanded universe there, it is a perfectly serviceable sequel movie to the original Star Wars.
Right, you are asking me to do something that I am not capable of doing. Right, let me just put you in the mind of a thought experiment here. Okay. I can picture myself existing in a world where the God of the Christian Bible exists, and I believe that God exists. I cannot picture myself existing in a world where I ignore the expanded universe to accept the sequel films. That is too much of an ask for me.
All right, but as a movie, as a sequel movie, if there wasn't an expanded universe, don't ignore it. Just I know it's there and I know it's good and all that, but if it wasn't there, it's actually not a bad sequel. But knowing what it could have been is what ruins it.
Right. So right, hang on. I'm going to say some stuff.
You keep saying stuff. Say some good stuff.
Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that the expanded universe never existed, which is very uncomfortable.
You should have lubricated it more.
Then maybe it might have worked.
Yeah.
As a Star Wars film. But now that I've said that, expanded universe does exist, so it counts. Now,
okay, but if you accept that there are people who have never read any of the expanded universe,
oh yeah, I absolutely accept that. I
these
just can't.
people can go into the cinema, watch Force Awakens, and go, "That was pretty damn good." And I get that. Lots of people did actually like it.
I accept that those people exist. However, they are wrong because
they're not wrong. They just haven't read all the other stuff that you have.
They are wrong, and here's why. I watched the original films not long before I watched the prequels. So all the films kind of came together with a little bit of a gap between the originals and the prequels, as this is all good stuff. Prequels went a little wonky in places, but it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
Then we have the books. And then I read the books, and I read the books for literally fucking decades, just going through them and just being like, okay, all of this that I'm reading is awesome. This has kept the films started it, and then the books kept the Star Wars fire burning in my mental state for literally like 20 years.
Yeah.
Then there were some games, and those were pretty good. And then there were books based on those games, which were fucking awesome. And then these films come along, and they're fucking usurpers.
Yeah, it is hard when there was so much extra content that was created over the time that Disney didn't use some of it. I find that
they're using some of it. They're just using some of it.
It's kind of, yeah, but as I said, there are people who don't know any of that, who watch the movie and go, yeah, that's fine. I cannot found many people who have watched the last it's the Last Jedi, isn't it? Yeah. It's so bad I can't even remember what it's called, who have watched The Last Jedi and said that was an awesome movie, because they just don't exist.
Apparently they do on Twitter and nowhere else. Okay.
So yeah, it's one of those things. It's the it's just yeah, atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, so there is just so much in The Last Jedi that is just ridiculous.
Oh, to answer the question that we started all this with, I think the whiniest fucking character in the Disney films is Rose Tico.
Oh, yeah. I was going to go with the obvious one, as in Kylo, because he's a whiny little shit. Just like his father and his grandfather before him. It runs in the... No, not his father. Luke wasn't his father. He's just like his uncle and his grandfather before him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whiny little shits.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. That's Luke's character arc. Is he starts off as a whiny little shit, and then he becomes fucking Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
By becoming progressively less whiny along the way.
I agree with you.
And then you have Anakin, who starts off as he starts off as sort of a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed little slave boy, and becomes, as things go progressively worse for him, a whiny shit.
Yep.
But yeah, out of the Disney films, I would pick Rose Tico as the whiniest fucking awful character.
She is really annoying. Well, she hardly even shows up in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it's one of the film's few redeeming features.
Yeah, she was only really in the one film, and she's probably the most annoying character.
Yeah. Now, there's something I want to make clear here. That is in no way saying the actor who plays her is bad.
Oh no, just the character.
I think she portrayed all the emotions that she was asked to portray quite well.
Oh, yeah,
Those emotions, however, were completely fucking inconsistent scene to scene, and were absolutely fucking awful.
Oh, yeah. Really, really awful. Oh dear. It was just dreadful. But then the whole flow of that movie, like them taking off to the casino world. Why is there even a fucking casino world?
And if they could leave in an escape pod and just to fucking casino world, why can't every fucking buddy else?
Yeah.
We just have everyone land on casino world, and suddenly they're all fine.
Yeah.
And then the first order, they're supposedly
and they beat off all the spaceships, and they're
supposedly chasing them in a fucking dreadnought with 5 or 6 Star Destroyers coming with it, all of which have literally thousands of TIE fighters aboard. They could have literally just sent one TIE fighter. So there's no excuse for them not chasing that escape pod. It would have taken one TIE fighter to track that escape pod because it had no fucking weapons on it.
No, it's just really, really, really stupid. And then of course you've got the really, really stupid MacGuffin thing in that where they use the hyperdrive as a weapon.
Okay, right about that. So, that whole business is fucking.
See, you probably have exactly the same problem with me. I don't have a problem with using, if you've got a thing like a hyperdrive, as a weapon. But they've had a hyperdrive for fucking centuries. If it could be used as a weapon, it would have already been used as a fucking weapon. That's the thing.
And then you're
not suddenly going to have a general thousands of years after they've had hyperdrive suddenly go, hey, guess what we can do?
Existence in the fucking Rise of Skywalker in the fucking worst possible. They tried to do it with a single line of dialogue when fucking. Which one of the two hobbits is in the Rise of Skywalker? It's either Merry or Pippin. I can't remember which one it is.
Sorry?
It's got one of the two hobbits from Lord of the Rings. One of the pair of hobbits, Merry and Pippin. One of the actor who plays one of them is in that film.
Oh, okay.
And he says, "Why don't we do some Holdo maneuvers?" And then they try to write this maneuver out of existence by saying, "Come on, that's 1 in a million."
Oh, fuck off! No, see that. See, this is the problem I have. If you're going to make up something like that, you are really just fucking with. I mean, yes, it's not real science fiction, Star Wars. It's science fantasy, but still. I don't make the audience completely suspend belief.
Oh, response to this quickly. Nerdy Rodent liked Jar Jar's comedy value. Here's the thing about Jar Jar. You can say whatever the fuck you like about Jar Jar. He was not a whiny bitch.
Yep, he wasn't a whiny bitch.
He was fucking exiled from his entire society, and he just bumbles around the swamp having a good time. He's just there like...
I still love the thing that Lucas's original plan for him was something bigger along the lines of him being a Sith.
Darth Jar Jar, yeah.
Darth Jar Jar. I just love that, and because he wasn't liked very much, that swap it. Yeah, Jen's a little badger and bad temper Jen. Bad temper Jen's pretty average, pretty normal. Ah, dear. But yeah, it's I
This is
like it.
going followed by this.
Yeah, I'm a little bit further away, Dave. He's such a big balls. Yeah, I mean, but that whole warp drive. I mean, if they could have done it, it would have been done before. I don't care how. I mean, not only that. Obvious, if you can put a hyperdrive into a X-wing, you could put a hyperdrive in a fucking missile.
You could just, right. The hyperdrives, basic hyperdrives, are not expensive in the Star Wars universe. If you want a good hyperdrive, that's expensive. But a basic fucking hyperdrive, you can just mass produce fucking hyperdrives. You could mass produce hyperdrives. Go to that little asteroid field around Geonosis, strap a hyperdrive to all of them, and just destroy any fleet or planet anywhere. You don't even fucking need Death Star.
Yeah. So, and I mean, the whole thing, all this thing, fucking firing photon torpedoes into the into exhaust ports to destroy Death Stars. No, we just get a small crew who are willing to do a suicide mission and crash one of our cruisers into it.
You don't even need a cruiser, just an autopilot hyperdrive strapped to a fucking rock.
Yeah, and that's it. But I mean, more is no more if you can do this, even if it doesn't work every single time. It's just, it was a giant MacGuffin, and I fucking hate them for it.
Now, here is why it doesn't work in universe. Hyperspace is not going very fast. It's not just, we go fast now. Hyperspace is a completely different fucking dimension.
Yeah.
It's more closely linked to string theory than it is to fucking speed racers.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not just getting extra speed and bringing into something. You are.
No, you are literally going outside of the universe.
If you exit hyperspace inside something else, you don't exit at super speed. You exit at virtually no speed because you basically had none before you entered, or whatever speed you were when you entered hyperspace. Mm-hmm. You could do a fair amount of damage, but you're probably not going to blow anything up that you couldn't have blown up by just praying into it.
There is one interesting thing that they do with hyperspace in the fucking Disney shit ones, which is in Force Awakens. When you come out of hyperspace inside the shield of the big planet, the Death Star. That actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That's a brilliant way to do it.
Unfortunately, the film is not part of Star Wars because it ignores the expanded universe. But now that I've said that, that's an interesting use of hyperspace.
And I don't have a problem with that one. That's a really cool use, and it probably would have been done by other people. It's just really fucking dangerous because you end up really close to what it is. And 9 times out of 10, if you're clearing something bigger than you and you're going to appear that close to it, you're the one who's fucked.
Mm-hmm. And that use of it actually makes sense.
Yeah. No, that one was fine. It was the one in the second one. Then what about the little dude with his broom at the end?
Oh, fuck off. Alright, about teleport Gandalf into the Death Star and get him to take it down from the inside. I watched a thing a while ago which was Gandalf versus Darth Vader, and it was a really interesting video. It was really well put together, and I recommend people find it and watch it.
There's a Darth Vader versus Batman as well.
Yep. I think it may be done by the same people. Right, what was the last thing you said before I went off on that little tangent?
Oh, little broom boy.
Oh, little broom boy. Okay.
I mean, I get the idea that there are going to be other Force-sensitive people, and here's my homage to that, but fuck off. Star Wars has never done that before. It's not needed to be done. Anyone who watches Star Wars knows there's always going to be new Force-sensitive people. Why? Why even do it?
Okay, here's my issue actually with Little Broom Boy. Little Broom Boy actually makes sense in Star Wars universe normally, the proper Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Pre-Disney, he makes sense. He's just a guy who is on this planet and he's force sensitive and he can make a broom come to him. That is something that is entirely possible to happen, but it doesn't make sense in the fucking bullshit continuity that Disney came up with.
Yeah?
Yeah, because they decided that it's all about balance between light and dark, and if there is a powerful dark side force user, there must be a balancing powerful light side.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they? Because they went all down the balance route instead of...
Yeah, so suddenly at that point, if you have any more, your whole scenario is fucked. So they fucked up their own story 3 times in a row in different and unique ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get on to the third one, because look, J.J. Abrams wasn't given much to work with when he came back to do it. I'll grant him that. Fuck Knuckle ruined it with the last Jedi. He'd absolutely fucked everything over and made it really hard to come back from that. I actually would have preferred if they'd ignored that they'd ever made that movie and remade that one.
Well, let's continue with that. Let's just ignore that they've made anything.
No, they if they did it right, they could keep The Force Awakens. They would just have to make the next 2 movies work.
No, they couldn't keep The Force Awakens. I'll tell you why. Han Solo does not outlive Chewbacca. Rather, Chewbacca does not outlive Han Solo. Correct continuity is Han Solo outlives Chewbacca. So, no, they couldn't keep The Force Awakens.
Yeah, they had to kill him off, though, because it's what Ford wanted.
Yeah, and then they fucking brought it back anyway.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that ridiculous?
Just, oh, shit, we fucked up everything. Harrison?
Yeah, see, well, that was the point. It got so bad in the Last Jedi that they made it really hard to come back from it, and that was, I guess, where Abrams was going with the third one. But what he ended up doing was made a movie that was so busy and so contrived that it doesn't have a proper plot line.
All right, Nerdy. I see your comment. And here's the thing about that. The problem with the Disney characters is most of them could, because they're all fucking ridiculous. They're just there like, okay, here's a new character. We're going to give them all the powers with no reason for them to have them. And we're going to make them swing a lightsaber like they've never even swung a fucking stick.
Do you know what I think the biggest problem is with Star Wars at Disney? Is they tried to Marvel it.
Yeah, they did.
The Marvel universe works. I mean, they make good movies, and it ties in well together, and people are reasonably happy with the way they're doing most of the characters.
It works, but I've run out of steam for watching it. That's not to say it doesn't work. That's not to say it's not good, although I have issues with it personally. But I'm not. I don't have any particular issue with how they're handling it, other than it just doesn't appeal to me particularly well.
Yeah. But they've tried to apply the same sort of thing with doing Star Wars, and it's a very, very different thing, Star Wars.
Yeah, it's not at all a Marvel thing. It's not. It's
comic
not.
Book readers are used to having their continuity kicked in their face all the time.
It's not a comic book. You can't just suddenly just go, okay, we're going to reset continuity. You cannot do. with Star Wars. They've tried to do it. It's split the fan base literally in half, and you now have two sides who, if they talk to each other, will try to kill each other.
Yeah, so this is a problem they've created for themselves. By ignoring what had come before, and I mean they could have ignored some of it as long as they'd picked up enough so that people could find something in the other content that had come out. But basically, they said no, fuck you. They held up a middle finger and said fuck you to the community. And I'm not. I mean, I realize what you're saying about Han Solo dying before Chewie, but I mean, in all honesty, given that was actually the request made by made by him, I don't see there was any way around that in The Force Awakens.
It was.
I think they could have gone from The Force Awakens into another two movies that worked well had they
not completely
not
fucked it
been
up.
such assholes about it.
Idiot to direct it.
Sorry?
It's not completely fucked it up by getting an idiot to write and direct it.
Oh, that second movie, yeah. It's just so bad. It really is. It's just... I have no idea what he even... Had he ever watched Star Wars before? Had he read anything Star Wars? Had he seen Clone Wars? Had he seen anything?
That's why I'm following a Twitter account called Ruin Johnson. That's his name now.
Ruin Johnson. Because I'm of the opinion that he obviously never watched anything.
He claims to have, but
in Abraham's defense, he was a fan who wanted to try and do the right thing, but was partly crippled by the Goliath that is Disney, and then fucked over by Rian Johnson.
All right, let me tell you some shit. So, Chewbacca and Han Solo. In real Star Wars, Han Solo outlives Chewbacca by a considerable amount of time.
Okay.
Because they dropped a moon on Chewie.
They dropped a moon on him?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very powerful and moving scene in one of the books where there is a black hole-based weapon.
I think it'd be very powerful if it's a fucking moon.
There is a weapon based on a black hole which is placed on a planet, and the idea of it is you put it on a planet and it sucks the moon down to the planet.
Okay.
New Republic task force was there to evacuate the planet, including the Millennium Falcon. If I'm remembering this correctly, I may have some of the details wrong because I haven't read this for literally ages. But they were there evacuating the planet. Millennium Falcon was there. They had to get Chewie. Chewie was down on the surface. If I'm remembering it right, he threw Han Solo's son onto the Falcon, but wasn't able to get aboard himself. And then a fucking moon fell on him.
So he threw Kylo onto the Falcon.
Fuck off. And that had like a deep emotional effect on Han Solo for like the rest of his life, basically. Which, of course it would. But they just decided instead of that, we're just going to go and we're just going to fucking kill off the wrong one at the wrong time, and then we'll have the one who can't fucking emote beyond going to be sad about it. And we're not even going to portray him being sad about it. We're just going to have him eating the stupid puffin things.
So here's a question for you. Why the hell would Leia and Han call their boy Ben?
Say that again?
Why would Leia and Han call their child Ben?
They wouldn't.
Yeah, because they have no ties to Obi-Wan. Now, if Luke had kids, he might call a kid Ben.
Neither of them knew him as Obi-Wan. As Ben, sorry.
No, only Luke did.
Leia might have known him as Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And Han just knew him as, where did you dig up that old fossil?
Yeah. The only one who would have named kids after Ben was Luke.
And he did, in the books.
He did, yes, in the books. So why the hell would you name Leia and Han's son Ben? That makes absolutely no sense.
If I'm remembering it
They
correctly.
might have named their kid Luke after his uncle. More likely, they would have named him after Leia's father.
I was going to mute
father.
myself when I type because the microphone is somewhere under the keyboard.
So yeah, I'm like, yeah, no.
No, they've done completely fucking wrong. What you have is Han and Leia had 3 children. Jason Solo, Jaina Solo, and Anakin Solo.
They're named after the grandfather. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kylo is a fucking cheap rip-off of a cheap rip-off of Jason Solo.
Yeah.
And Rey is a cheap rip-off of Jaina Solo.
Oh, now getting on to Rey. Why the fuck would a Sith Lord have kids?
Just one quick thing. Well, maybe Ben was a popular name, or maybe fuck yourself.
That's so friendly there.
It's okay, I love you, Sandy. But no.
Go fuck yourself. Why on earth would Palpatine or Darth Sidious have kids? He's a Sith. They don't share power. They don't want kids.
Okay. It's unfortunately I know more about this than I want to. The fucking mess that they came up with is it's not actually Sidious that did it. It's a clone of him, and they made like a faulty clone that didn't have any fucking force powers. So this clone like escaped and went and had kids, and it was a fucking stupid mess.
Okay.
So they took a situation that doesn't make sense and then made it make less sense.
Why? Oh, and again, Force lightning. Rey gets it because her so-called grandfather had it. No. Force lightning, any Force user can use if you're a Dark Force user, because it's a Dark Force power. You can learn to use it. It's not a special power that certain special powers for certain Jedis. No. That's not how this thing works.
So here's the thing with the Force. Disney doesn't fucking understand how it works.
Yeah. I would have been happier if they'd gone on about midi-chlorians, to be perfectly honest.
Midi-chlorians make sense. They make
way more sense than anything in the.
They remove some of the mystery of it. Although, when you actually look at it, they don't. They've just put a vaguely sciencey sounding title on the mystery of it.
Yeah.
They actually make it more mysterious if you think about it. But then you have fucking Disney coming in and trying to they tried to make the Force into the X-Men.
They did, didn't they? That's what it was. Yeah, they're all all the Jedis are mutants, and they all have their own special power. It's like, no, please, no.
One of the few good lines I'll quote one of the few good lines from The Force Awakens. Just say, "That's not how the Force works."
It just is incredibly frustrating. I mean, another thing. Rey has possibly heard about Jedi. How the fuck did she use any Force abilities in The Force Awakens at all? Aside from random capabilities. Actually, doing mind tricks on people is a skill that takes a long time for a Jedi to learn.
Mm.
And she just does them. With no training. That annoyed me.
Yep. It's the Force is not like a thing that you can do. You can't do super finely tuned and controlled Force powers without being trained to do them, or at least practicing a lot. You can do like sudden, overwhelming emotional things, like pushing a load of stuff away from you using the Force without training.
Yeah.
Or at least some can. You can't fucking reach out and carefully grab a spaceship and pull it back towards you without training.
Yeah. Although they at least did show that Leia had some training from Luke.
Oh, so about that. In the books, Leia goes back and forth between being a Jedi and not being a Jedi. She doesn't go back and forth in terms of being able to use the Force, but she starts off not wanting to be trained to use the Force because she fears that she might become another Vader.
Yeah.
Then goes later on, I can't remember the exact circumstances of why, but she then decides, actually, no, I will do this Jedi training with me brother, and it goes quite well. And she is on and off part of the new Jedi Order, but she's never just hanging around the Jedi. She's always doing other stuff because she's Princess Leia. She's not just going to sit around Jediing. She's got stuff to do. I forgot where I was going with this, but anyway, what they did in the films, in the stupid films, the Disney ones that are awful and terrible and shouldn't exist, what they did in those was they went, oh, Leia's just going to be here. Oh, she's actually a Jedi because we fucking killed everyone else who can train Rey.
Yeah.
Oh, she has a lightsaber.
That annoys me too. The killing off Luke was just ridiculous. Luke could have saved them all, come there, saved them all without him having to have died off. Maybe ended up a bit injured, but an injured Luke could still train Rey. And that would have been perfectly fine.
Um,
I mean, in all honesty, after all Luke's growth to become the Jedi he became in Return of the Jedi, they turned him back into a whiny little bitch.
Yeah. Okay, there's a criticism of Book Luke, which is he becomes, you know how everyone describes Rey as Mary Sue?
Yeah.
The criticism of Book Luke is he does the same thing. I don't think that's an accurate criticism. He does become extremely overpowered in the books, but he doesn't become extremely overpowered without earning it.
There's a difference there.
If you read the books, Luke travels all around the fucking galaxy, meeting, surviving, Force-using traditions, some that are unconnected to the Jedi entirely, and some that escaped the Jedi Purge, learning ancient Force abilities that even the mainstream Jedi Order of the Old Republic didn't know. And he becomes, because he's the chosen one, he has more Force potential than a lot of other Jedi. he is able to become exceedingly overpowered. He doesn't just oh look, I'm fucking overpowered now. he spends literally decades training to achieve it.
He's like a level 20th wizard in D&D. He's put the fucking work in.
Mm-hmm. So there's a reason that in the books it is said that if he roots himself in the Force, a black hole can't move him.
Yeah.
It's because he's spent literally decades training, and he is a more powerful Force sensitive than almost any other being in history.
Yeah. Which I really like the idea of. And had they done that, had when Rey gone and found Luke, we'd found out that that's what he'd been doing. He'd been going out, finding out more things about the Force to overcome his own mistakes with Kylo. I could have accepted that. That would have been a good thing.
I could have accepted it if it had happened for a short period, like a month or two, so that it would fit around the other continuity of the expanded universe.
Yeah.
But then Kylo wouldn't make sense unless he's not the individual they claim he is in the films.
Yeah.
But I've come up with plot outlines for the first two to make them fit with the real expanded universe and explain how these characters can still exist.
Yeah, I bet you can't do that with the third.
No, you can't.
Who did you end up making Rey then?
Just a Jedi apprentice.
No, so not someone who was related to anybody, just a new Force sensitive.
Who's related to Kylo. In my outlines, they are siblings.
Ah, so she's actually Leia's daughter.
Nah.
So how did she end up pushed? How did she end up?
Kylo's not related to the Solos in my outlines.
Ah, okay. You see, that would make more sense.
But I've still imported the good bits of the characters from the new characters, like Poe Dameron's there, because I think he's actually a pretty interesting character.
Yeah. Now here's a question. Do you think, with the way that they went on with Palpatine being on the Sith planet and I'm the Sith fucking Lord, ruler, what happened to the rule of two? Did Disney just completely ignore that? Because it certainly looked like it.
No, they've tried to do another thing and add some extra bullshit to the rule of two.
Yeah, no. Even Palpatine followed the rule of two.
Well, here's the thing, though. He didn't entirely.
No, he didn't. He did bend it, didn't he?
He had one true apprentice and a load of hangers-on.
Just in case he lost an apprentice.
Yeah.
So was Darth Maul actually considered a true apprentice or a hanger-on?
Depends who you ask.
Yeah.
Because if you read the books, continually, Darth Plagueis was not dead yet when Darth Maul was around.
Oh yeah, no, he wasn't, was he? So
if you ask Darth Plagueis, he's a hanger-on. If you ask Darth Plagueis, he's a hanger-on. And if you ask Darth Sidious when Darth Plagueis is there, he's a hanger-on. But if you ask Darth Sidious when Darth Plagueis isn't there, he's a Sith apprentice.
Ah. So how does that work with Count Dooku then?
All right. So here's the thing with Dooku. Darth Maul was trained for decades by Sidious while Plagueis was still alive to take so that when Sidious killed Plagueis, he would already have a nice apprentice already and prepared.
Yeah.
Then when Sidious killed Plagueis, he was like, oh, look, I got this handy Darth Maul. Unfortunately, Sidious, if I'm remembering the timeline correctly, Sidious killed Plagueis very shortly before Obi-Wan killed Maul. So then he's like, fuck. My whole apprentice plan's just gone down the fucking reactor shaft, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what do I do? Oh, look, there's this handy guy who's left the Jedi Order because he now morally disagrees with it. I can have a little chat with him and just kind of twist him a bit more. Twist him a little bit more until he turns to the dark side. And then I can, oh, look, I've got a handy pre-made apprentice.
Yeah. Who was actually more powerful than Maul anyway?
He was more powerful in terms of his force abilities, but it's debatable whether he was a better lightsaber duelist than Maul. Mark Caesar says, am I the only person who's never got into the Star Wars story? Tried, just never took. No, there's absolutely loads of people who never got into it. You're just not in a stream full of them.
If you ever want to get into it, don't start with Disney.
If you want to get into Star Wars, Disney's not where to start because they're not
Well,
making
you
Star
could start
Wars.
with The Mandalorian, I guess. Stop dishing on it. You know you like it. It is the only Star Wars thing that Disney have so far done.
It's the only thing that could really be molded into a Star Wars thing.
I think it is a good Star Wars thing. There was stuff that was done pre-Disney that is worse than Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, that I don't disagree with.
Okay. So in that context, it's quite easy for anyone to say this is Star Wars. And as it's not talking about any of the main characters, it's not fucking with any continuity.
Here's the thing that apparently a thing I heard a while ago is they were trying to cast someone to play Ahsoka Tano in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I know that, but it depends how they do it. And remember, it's Jon Favreau who's going to be directing most of that, so he's actually pretty good. So it might work out all right.
Right, Clone Wars. Let me talk about the Clone Wars a little bit. I like bits of the Clone Wars. However, they get the whole Mandalorian arc wrong. So I have concerns about any link between the Mandalorian and the Clone Wars because I think they will get Mandalorian culture more wrong than they have already.
Yeah. Who was it I was arguing with the other day when somebody was trying to say that Boba Fett was a Mandalorian? It was not.
The thing with being a Mandalorian is it's not a species or a race.
No, it's a trait.
You don't become a Mandalorian by being born of a Mandalorian. You become a Mandalorian by adopting the culture.
But you have to be adopted by the culture as well. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to start being like a Mandalorian." No, you have to be accepted by them.
Not necessarily. That's debatable depending on who you ask. I mean, it's debatable depending on who you ask in the universe.
I'm going with you can't just announce yourself as being a Mandalorian. You can identify as one all you like, but you have to be accepted as one.
You can't. I will go this far with it. You can't be part of official Mandalorian clan culture without being accepted by
Exactly.
it.
Yes.
But you could adopt the way of life.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But if you adopt the way of life, are you a Mandalorian?
That's debatable.
You know, it is an interesting thing because it's an adopted culture anyway. You're not born. Well, I guess some people are born to it, but most people aren't. They're adopted to it.
I know. So. There's a good amount of both. At least there is pre Clone Wars, but hang on, my brain's fallen out.
Put it back. Quick, put it back.
Nobody move. I've dropped my brain. What the fuck was I talking about? Mandalorian adoption and the thing. Yeah, there is no difference between an adopted child and a biological child in Mandalorian culture. If you're adopted by a Mandalorian, you are that Mandalorian's child, whether you are biological or not.
Yeah. So I guess in that sense, yes, maybe if you adopt their culture and you start living it, then you're a Mandalorian in all but social acceptance, and there's a good chance that would come anyway.
And there's nothing to stop you making your own clan.
Well, that's true.
It just wouldn't have the legitimacy in society of the old clans until you started doing some shit.
And I guess in that sense, I mean, Boba Fett was one of the most highly regarded bounty hunters in the galaxy. So
yeah, but he didn't live as a Mandalorian. He didn't follow
that's my problem. He didn't live as one. He wore the armor, but that was about it.
Let's say you read the books. Boba Fett becomes a Mandalorian later in his life, after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
He's not a right. He falls into the Sarlacc twice, and he escapes it twice.
He falls in twice and escapes it twice.
Yes.
Okay. How the hell does he manage to fall in twice?
He gets out once. I can't remember the order of these escapes. He gets out once because the Sarlacc is a sentient being, and it's kind of taken on the identity of someone that it digested centuries ago. So he taunts this consciousness into doing something which it moves some of its internal structures in a way that turns on his jetpack and he flies out.
Clever.
Following that, he ends up just sitting in a sand crawler for a bit because he's like injured as fuck, and he doesn't really like remember who he is. And then Han Solo's on the sand crawler for some reason, and just as his memory starts coming back, the sandcrawler falls in the Sarlacc. And then I think he blows it up the second time. But I'd have to check that because I can't remember.
Damn.
So then later, he's just bumbling around the galaxy still as Boba Fett doing his bounty hunting, but he's a bit decrepit now because he's been in a Sarlacc twice, and he's also a clone, so he's kind of fallen apart a little bit. And then later on, he is talking to other Mandalorians and adopts the culture. Also, his armor that you see him wearing, while it is the shape of Mandalorian armor, it's not made of Mandalorian iron.
Ah.
Yeah, I may know too much about the expanded universe.
No, that's fine. I mean, I did know some of this anyway, which was why my question was, because, I mean, well, my take from it was that he wasn't, but then I know you said that he became one later in life, but he certainly wasn't during the events of the prequel, of the original Star Wars.
No. Well, he would probably say that he was, but he fucking wasn't. He wasn't doing any of the stuff. He didn't speak the language. He was not like a thing.
No.
Ow. Excuse me, I'm just punching my desk. Here's the thing.
Oh, okay. So they're telling us off for being Star Wars heavy.
You've met me. Right. Jen.
Yep.
Entertain. Oh my goodness. Entertain the chat for a second. I will be right back. You are big now.
Oh, I'm big. Woo! I am big anyway. I'm scary.
Be right back.
Hi, chat. All right, so Spooky doesn't want me to talk about Star Wars anymore. What do you want to talk about, Spooky? What sci-fi? I could talk about Babylon 5, because Babylon 5 is brilliant and amazing. Star Trek, okay. SG-1? Yeah, Dave, you know what I think of SG-1. It's very derivative, not all that wonderful. And no, actually, I quite like SG-1. I don't think it's a pinnacle of sci-fi that you seem to think it is, but I quite enjoyed it. At least the first 8 seasons were pretty good. I wasn't as enamored once they got into the whole Oro stuff. I kind of found that to be a bit crap. But the earlier seasons were certainly quite brilliant. Very well put together. Probably with Daniel being my favorite character, closely followed by Sam. I just really like Daniel. He was the right mix of nerdy and everything else. Plus, the guy who plays me is quite hot, so that helped. So yeah, I think my favorite episode is the one where Tilk and O'Neill are stuck in a time loop. And they are going mad trying to convince everybody else that they're in the time loop to start off with, and then trying to figure out a way out of the time loop. And then when they finally realize that, hang on, we can do anything we want, Groundhog Day style, they go absolutely loopy doing whatever the fuck they want. That I think that the great scene is the best scene in it is where they're using the Stargate to play golf. And General Hammond comes out and goes, "What on earth do you think you're doing?" And Jack turns around and goes, "In the middle of my fucking backstroke." It was a awesome episode. Ooh, my favorite Star Trek was Voyager, if we're going to be talking Star Trek now, but I really, really liked Picard. I thought it was a really good series. I don't know that it's better than Voyager, but it certainly was good. And I really liked Enterprise too. I know lots of people poo-pooed Enterprise, and I'm guessing most of the poo-pooing was because of the frickin' Xindi, because that whole thing was so annoying, and very un-Star Warsy. But Star Warsy, Star Trekky. I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I really liked Enterprise. I like the rough and readiness of it. Dr. Phlox was kind of cool in his weird, extravagant kind of way of dealing with medicine. The fact that they didn't have the ultimate solution to everything, and because they were just starting out in their trips and into the deep unknown of space. I just kind of found that really interesting, at least to start off with, until they got into the whole Xindi thing. But yeah, Deep Space Nine is probably my least favorite series. Star Trek. Oh no, I tell lies. My least favorite Star Trek is whatever the new stupid thing is that's on. Not Picard, the other one. New stupid thing.
I'm back with toasted tea cakes.
Toasted tea cakes. Yum.
Yeah.
Where's mine?
In my mouth. So, what is going on?
We started talking. I started talking about Stargate, and now they're discussing is Deep Space Nine worse than TOS?
No, Deep Space Nine is actually pretty good.
It's not my favorite of them, though. It really isn't. I like TOS for if I take it in context of when it was made. I really like TOS. If I take it in context of trying to watch it now, the acting is not great. The special effects suck, and oh god, William Shatner can't act to save his fucking life.
Hey, Shatner's great. He's got a perfect delivery. Was he not supposed to be playing like a guy who doesn't know how words happen?
Yeah, he certainly seemed that way, didn't he? But what's the Star Trek Discovery?
No,
I just cannot get into it. It just
no.
It's like the Disney Star Wars movies. It doesn't feel like Star Trek.
Right, 1 second. I have not watched a single episode of Discovery.
Please don't. It really is bad.
And I'm about to enlighten you as to why. So, I have not watched a single episode of Discovery because this is not a fucking Klingon.
No, it's not.
That is not a fucking Klingon. That is a deformed Urukai. So as soon as I saw that, I said, if that's what you're going to try to make the Klingons look like, you clearly have no idea what Star Trek is.
No, I agree. I mean, they could have... it's set a little bit after Enterprise. They could have gone with human kind of looking ones or proper next generation looking Klingons. But no, they had to come up with this weird fucked up design.
Mm-hmm. As soon as I saw that, I went, I'm not watching this. If they're willing to... If they're willing to fuck the source material so roughly and violently in terms of how the Klingons look, I am not going to let them do it with my appreciation of the story.
I like how in Enterprise they explained why the Klingons in TOS looked the way they did. Fill out the continuity.
See, I was fine with it just being they weren't really supposed to look like that, but we didn't have the budget to make them look how we wanted, so now we do. Here they are.
Yeah. But I didn't mind them actually building a story as to why it was the way it was.
No, I didn't mind it either. Although I prefer the Deep Space Nine explanation, actually, which is they go back in time in that one episode, and Worf's just sitting there like, the Klingons over there, Klingons over there. Why do they look like that? We do not speak of it.
Speak about it. Yeah, we don't speak about it. Oh dear, I love it. But I mean, at least the said that no, that was continuity. There were Klingons that looked human, and then Enterprise gives us a reason why there were some Klingons that looked like humans.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then they go and bring out Discovery. It's like the only excuse you could have for having Klingons look like they do in Discovery is that obviously Klingon plastic surgeons were not very good at doing the surgeries. So that's the problem with it. Why? Why? There was nothing wrong with the design for the Klingons in Next Gen.
Nope.
They looked fine. Why did you have to make new ones? Then why did you have to have this stupid ass bug and this warp drive that could take them across the entire galaxy in
Although,
blink of an eye?
I will thank them in one regard for doing that to the Klingons, because it informed me that I didn't need to waste my time watching the show.
Yeah. No, as far as I'm concerned, Discovery just isn't Star Trek. It's dreadful.
Yeah.
Ola wants to see my tits. You bored there, Ola? Yeah. No, I just couldn't get into that. But Picard, on the other hand, feels like Star Trek. It's got the right feel to it. It's been well directed, well written. Really enjoyed it, but I won't. Sorry?
I had issues with Picard.
I had issues too, but not enough that it wasn't Star Trek for me. You know, yeah, I had certain issues with the way certain characters were played as being older, but not enough that it distracted from the show itself, or ruined it in the long term for me. So, yeah.
Well, one of my main issues with Picard is the same issue I have with The Mandalorian. And I'll tell you exactly what that is.
Because you've read Outside Girl and it's changed the way that Picard is.
No. It's because of what it represents. It represents to me the people who now control both Star Wars and Star Trek going, oh shit, we tried to make new stuff and we completely fucked it up. And all the old fans hate us now.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do, I know, we will make something that the old fans will like so that they have to accept our new bullshit in order to get this thing. Like, if I was to accept The Mandalorian as part of Star Wars because of certain little things in it, I would have to also accept the other shit that Disney's made. It's the same with Picard. They're trying to smuggle in all the bullshit that I hate in the guise of something that I like. It's like a Trojan horse series.
I don't know. Are they? They haven't really made any references to anything that was in Discovery.
I may be a little bit too hardline on it here, but the only way, let's use The Mandalorian as an example and just Star Wars in general. The only way they could get me back as a true fan would be if they said, we are erasing all of that from continuity and we apologize for making it. And it's the same with a lot of the Star Trek stuff for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think the fact that they haven't actually said that this is an entirely different universe to what Discovery happened in?
Yeah. To me, they would need to denounce that as an alternate universe that is completely unconnected to Star Trek proper.
Yeah.
Then they could still have it because Star Trek already has. Say that again, sorry?
Because of that, Picard's no good.
If there's any chance it can be linked to Discovery, it's no good.
Okay. So what they need to do is say Discovery takes place in the Kelvin timeline.
No, because then that fucks up the Kelvin timeline.
Well, I don't care about the Kelvin timeline.
Just there's already alternate universes in Star Trek. All they got to do is go, this is a different universe where Klingons evolved differently. So we never need to speak of it again because it's its own thing, it's its own universe. So the people who liked it can still have it, but it's a separate universe to.
Well, yeah, I kind of hope they do that. That would be ideal in my mind because it's a piece of shit.
Star Trek has a built-in way out for that. They already have several alternate universes. That's something Star Wars doesn't have. You can't get out of it like that for Star Wars. You can for Star Trek.
You could say, hey, it was a dream.
That's the only way to get out of it without just saying it didn't happen for Star Wars. But for Star Trek, alternate universe.
That actually kind of be cool. Luke wakes up from a dream and goes, what the hell was the Force trying to tell me?
Yeah.
And then he can go and find Rey, and they can find out the Rey's entirely different to how...
Yeah. Some kind of genetic mistake.
That reads really bad the way you wrote that. Boobs. Fucking agree. Some kind of genetic mistake. What the hell? What's wrong with boobs?
All right. You mentioned Stargate earlier. Let's talk about Stargate.
Okay. Well, I mentioned my favorite episode is the one where they, where Tilk and O'Neill are stuck in a time loop. The Groundhog Day episode. Pure mostly for the golfing scene. I just love that scene.
My favorite bit of that episode is O'Neill just drawing a face with the condiments. He's just there with his plate, and he's just fucking drawing a face on the condiments. Insane guns are no longer in possession of one's faculties. Wacko!
Hands his resignation and goes up and makes out with Carter. But the whole golf thing where the general walks in and goes, what the hell are you doing? He goes, in the middle of my backswing. That was just classic.
One of my favorite episodes is the one where they're pitching TV series for some reason. I can't remember why they're doing it.
It was one of the anniversary specials.
Yeah, I can't remember why they're doing it, but I just love the Tilks one. It just fucking throws a guy through the window and he's there with the hat and the trench coat, just indeed. Tilk PI coming this fall. Things will not calm down, Colonel O'Neill. They will, in fact, calm up.
My favorite character is Daniel. I love Daniel. I think he's awesome.
Yeah, Daniel's alright.
Tilk gets the best lines.
Out of the main peoples, my favorite character goes between Tilk and O'Neill, but it's kind of like both of them, but for different reasons. Well,
they are really the comedy duo of it.
Yeah, I like Tilk because of his. I think it's the same.
He's the straight man.
I think it's the same reason that I identify more strongly with Data than most of the other characters in Star Trek Next Generation. I'm a bit funny. I'm probably a bit autistic. I have linked things, but it's not an official autism diagnosis, so I don't want to say yes, I'm definitely autistic. But I like his approach to things. Just indeed.
Indeed. Yeah.
But also,
he's the straight man to O'Neill's comedy.
But also, I like O'Neill's attitude to things.
Yeah.
There appears to be no fish here, O'Neill. It's not about the fish, Teal. It's about fishing.
It's a good episode, that one. There are a lot of good episodes. I'll grant that. There was definitely a lot of good episodes.
You can't make shows like that anymore.
I mean, they can. They just don't.
I don't think it's possible in the current climate with who is making shows and who they are trying to make shows for to make a show like
that. Will Riker sucks.
Sucks dick. Anyway. What are your thoughts on Riker?
Riker, I hated him to start off with. I thought he was a pompous ass in the early episodes, but he was better as the series went on. They mellowed him out and they made him more rounded. Definitely made him more rounded. Sorry.
Hey, that's mean. Okay, a friend of mine really likes Riker. Riker is probably one of his favorite characters. My friend is gay though. He's just there. Riker comes in. He's leaning
like Wesley. Then
Riker comes in, leaning on stuff, and he's like, "Ooh."
I reckon Wesley was passed around as the ship's twink.
Oh, I reckon Wesley can just shut up. Okay, Wesley. I didn't dislike Wesley at the time. You know, I was watching it. I thought, oh, yeah, Wesley's okay, but on the whiny bitch scale, he's
yes,
he's fucking.
We have our winner in whiny bitch.
he's way above like the whiniest of Luke. You know.
Oh, I mean, he's up there with Kylo.
He's fucking. He surpasses fucking Rose Tico.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely a whiny little shit. And he got worse as it went on. They kept making him worse and worse and worse, and you just
He's I agree with I agree with Picard. Shut up, Wesley.
Yeah, shut up, Wesley.
Oh, Will Wheaton blocked me on Twitter.
Did he? Did you say shut up with?
No, he just like he did like a block bot thing and he blocked like almost all of Twitter. And then he left Twitter.
Somebody should have tweeted him a whole heap of memes about Wesley Crusher.
I'm sure they did.
Do we have a list with him on it?
No, I didn't have a list with him on it, but I'm going to put him on the whiny bitch list.
Oh, he's definitely on the whiny bitch list. About on a par with Kylo, I think.
No, because Kylo's actually functional. Like sometimes he can actually do stuff in the film. Wesley,
well, if it only requires him thinking, Wesley can often manage it. But I mean, outside of that, he's pretty fucking useless.
Actually, and yeah, also thinking about it, Kylo's not fucking functional. Have you seen him swing a lightsaber?
Oh, it's dreadful, isn't it? There is nothing good about the choreography in the lightsaber fights.
No, no, I will disagree with you there. There is the throne room fight scene is
Oh yeah,
impressive
that's
in
okay.
some aspects of it. If you don't look at the choreography, if you look at like the framing and stuff and how the camera angles are done, it's actually quite impressive in some regards. If you do look at the choreography, it's absolutely awful.
Mhm.
If you look sort of beyond just flashy lightsabers, yay, and you look at what the people on screen are doing with their flashy lightsabers, it's awful.
Yeah, I agree. And Luke's fight at the end. Oh, that's dreadful.
Uh, he would need to be there for there to be a fight. He's just
Yeah, but that's the whole point with it. I mean, all he does, he's just dodging because he's not actually there.
it'd make it
And
really
he's,
obvious otherwise.
oh, how dumb is Kylo? He can't even see that Luke's not kicking up any sand.
Yeah, he doesn't need footprints on his way out.
Yep.
Anyway, just fucking let's leave the Disney shit for a minute.
Yep.
What other sci-fi do we both enjoy?
Well, what we've done. So what
We've done
we've done
Star
Star
Wars,
Wars, we've
we've
done
done Star Trek, we've done
Star Trek.
Stargate.
What else is there? Well, there's Babylon 5.
I haven't actually seen Babylon 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we probably shouldn't talk about something we both haven't seen. That could get boring. Especially as it's been so long since I watched it.
Yeah, okay.
So we need something that's newer. Well, what about Red Dwarf?
Well, Red Dwarf. You see, the thing Red Dwarf is, Red Dwarf it's one of the best series ever made.
Yep.
I was trying to figure out how long I could string that along, but I couldn't fucking string it along anymore.
It is brilliant. I mean, comedy sci-fi is probably one of the hardest things to do. Lots of other people have tried it and failed miserably.
Have you seen that show, Lex?
Lex wasn't bad.
I've only seen the first episode of it.
Yeah.
And there was a fucking robot head reading erotic poetry, and all the shower heads looked like penises.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at this going, what? And then I went and watched Firefly.
Yeah, well, Firefly's come up in the chat. So, somebody's favorite.
Yeah.
Firefly was amazing.
I was trying to find
it really deserved more than what we saw of it.
I was trying to find a new science fiction series to watch, and I was just going through lists of science fiction series, and I found Lex, and I watched the first episode and saw the penis showers, and just kind of went, okay, no. And then the next one I clicked on was Firefly, and I was like, okay, this is awesome.
It was. Yeah, Firefly was definitely awesome. What else do people mention? Sliders. I didn't really enjoy Sliders. It was
what is Sliders?
They've got it's almost Rick and Morty without the humor. They portal in between worlds, but don't have a lot of control over it.
But without the humor.
Yes, without the humor.
What's the point then?
I know.
Rick and Morty is good because Rick is an asshole, and Morty's just like, ah!
Yeah, well, Rick and Morty, if you're going to talk sci-fi, is incredibly fun. I really like Rick and Morty. It's good stuff. But it's cartoon, it's not live action.
I like how Rick just interacts with Jerry.
Yeah.
I just, he looks pretty cool, Morty. It looks around, Morty's gone, and it's just Jerry there. Oh. Jerry's just, all right, I thought it was pretty cool. I'll go ahead.
I love the one where they drop Jerry off the daycare center. Where they drop the Jerry off at the daycare center for Jerry's.
Yeah.
All of that for the end of it, really, where they come back. He's lost his ticket. I don't care. And just swaps it with the other one.
Is this your Jerry? Oh, fucking no. Just have this one.
like no one cares. It's just Jerry who cares.
It's just Jerry.
Yeah, it's like all Jerrys are the same, which is kind of what we've been showing beforehand. They were all the fucking same.
I was watching Rick and Morty with a friend of mine. A friend of mine is the guy who likes the Riker. He was going through a messy breakup. So we were just watching Rick and Morty. As the episodes came out, we were watching them, talking on Discord as we were watching them. And that was great. And it was really working and cheering him up, apart from that one episode where Rick goes through a messy breakup with that organism that takes over other things. Yeah. With that hive mind organism.
Yeah.
Everything was fine until Rick had a messy breakup.
And then Rick rejuvenates that little thing and pats it and everything, and then kills it under the thing.
Oh dear.
That was really dark the way that ended.
Yeah, yes it was. And I liked how dark it was because I was not in a great place myself at the time. And that was kind of how I was feeling. And I was like, oh, this is perfect.
So that puts the other thing, he puts himself underneath it and then goes.
He just doesn't fucking disintegrate himself just because he's too fucking drunk.
Yeah, too drunk and too depressed to disintegrate himself.
Okay, so Firefly. Let's go back there.
Firefly.
Any more of the dark bits of Rick and Morty?
There's lots of them.
I know. Firefly, it's good stuff. I like it.
It's all right, Morty. They're only robots. Shoot them. They're bureaucrats. I don't think of them as human.
They're not robots, Rick. No, I mean, they're bureaucrats. I don't respect them.
Yes. I like the whole one where he's taking over other Ricks. Well, first of all, the bureaucrats, one of the guards' bodies, but later on the other Ricks. And he's one line every time he's finished doing something with whatever character it is. His brain's taken over. He's going, I'm going to go take a shit now.
Yep. I'm going to go take a shit.
I'm going to take a shit.
Okay, so Firefly. Here's a question for you. Given your knowledge of the backstory of Firefly, would you have sided with the Independents or the fucking other ones? What are they called? The people who run the show now?
Oh, I can't remember. I don't know. Probably with the Independents.
Somebody in the chat tell me what the other ones are called, because it's just gone from my brain.
Assholes.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Orla. That covers
Thanks,
it.
Orla.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
agree.
definitely side with the Independents.
Yep. I agree with Mel on that. Just saying, well,
I
why
don't
would you
get
name your
why
ship?
the people go mad.
Yeah.
Oh no, because they explained that in the movie, didn't they?
Yeah. So why
It
would you
was a
name your
grudge.
ship after a battle you're on the wrong side of? So I may have been on the losing side. I'm still not convinced it was the wrong one.
It was a good show, Firefly.
All right, favorite Firefly
Character. It's Kaylee, isn't it? The mechanic.
Yeah. Why?
Oh, I just liked her. She was down to earth, but she was really, really good at her job, and that's that kind of role just speaks in my head. The being able to fix do the engine and sort of not that I'd be interested in fixing cars, but if it's a fucking spaceship, hell yeah.
All right. I'm trying to think who my favorite character would be.
The preacher wasn't bad though.
It does come down to between him. Zoe. Zoe's my favorite character.
The prostitute.
No, that's Inara.
Oh no, yeah, Zori's the other one. Yeah.
The first mate.
Sorry.
First mate.
Yeah, the first mate. Yeah.
Yeah, she's my favorite character.
Yep. There's some really good characters in the show.
Although I really like Jane.
The show was based around the characters anyway.
Mm-hmm. It
was a very character-driven show.
I just like all the characters.
Yes, I know Sandy. She was a companion, but by companion they meant prostitute.
Yeah, I like Jane. I like Jane a lot.
Yes, he was nuts.
I like they had a gun called Vera.
Yeah. She's very protective of Vera.
I like his hat. Oh my god.
He's back.
All right. Yeah, Jane is good. Who else we got?
River.
River is
interesting, but we never really got to know enough about her during the TV series.
No, we needed, and they couldn't really do it enough in the film.
We needed
we needed like 3 or 4 more seasons to properly get to her again.
Yeah, that was the problem. And her brother annoyed me. He was another whiny character.
I have a role play character based on his appearance.
Yeah?
It's like a
Jekyll and Hyde.
Half of them is. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde scenario, but rather than like a serum that turns one into the other, it's a malfunctioning brain implant. So he has like a brain implant that was supposed to enhance his memory and do some other stuff, but sometimes it malfunctions. What are words? Yeah, sometimes it malfunctions and turns off his empathy.
Oh, wow.
So he becomes like a proper psychopath.
And then he ends up with guilt afterwards when it stops malfunctioning.
Yeah, this is a round the table role play, which is obviously not happening right now because fucking COVID. But yeah, it's so I basically said to the person running the game that I would roll a dice for when he wakes up, which one he is, and for certain times I would roll a dice to see if he switches between them, and also the GM can just switch whenever he wants, can just tell me, right, you're the other one now.
Yeah.
So fucking Dave, who was running this game, not that Dave. Not that Dave, and not that other Dave.
Different Dave.
This is a different Dave. But fucking Dave, who's running this game, the psychopath one had just... we were in like an underground cave environment. The psychopath one had just stabbed a guy through the face. And he's like, you're the other one now. And I was just there like, okay, give me a minute.
Oh dear.
Because I had to then roleplay the guy having like a proper fucking nervous breakdown because he just stabbed the guy through the face. So yeah, Dave, you're an asshole, but it was fun. Anyway, back to Firefly.
Firefly.
That's whatever a Firefly does.
Yeah. I love the ship.
Yes.
The ship looks awesome. It's got the right sort of feel for what you'd expect of a spacecraft. They don't have the sound in space. They have something that just, looks good and just gives you a sense that it really has been out there in space.
Yeah, I agree. It's a ship and it is awesome, and I would like it.
Yeah,
it's a solar system, isn't it? It's not like it's the setup is just, it's a single solar system.
Yes. Yeah, there's just a lot of habitable planets. I think it's got 2 stars and a lot of planets. So I'm wondering if it's meant to be Alpha Centauri.
Now, I don't know if it was you or me then, but it went all roboty for a second.
It could be me.
Yeah, so it's a single solar system around a star, and they've terraformed all the planets, haven't they? Well, pretty much all the planets.
Yeah, there is some stuff on it. So,
does Mass Effect count as sci-fi? Yes, but I can't really talk on Mass Effect because I've only played a part of the first one.
Yeah.
But at least the amount that I know about it counts as sci-fi. You're doing that serious glare again.
I'm looking it up.
You've got that.
Where's the thing about the planets? No. I'm trying to look it up. Oh, they've released a whole heap of novels based on Firefly.
Yeah, they did, but I haven't read them yet.
That could be interesting.
It's kind of difficult for me to transition from the series to a written medium. I'm not sure why that's different to Star Wars, where I can read the books all day, but it just seems to be different in my head. I think if I was going to read the books, I'd need to watch all the series again. Just in one go, and then immediately start reading a book. But I'm having a lot of trouble getting into new books at the moment.
All right, so there's a picture of the White Sun system. Huh. Okay. No, it's a 3-star system.
Okay.
So there's a central white, not a white dwarf, a central very white blue star,
Mm-hmm.
and two red dwarfs that's orbit it.
Oh, cool. And then the planets presumably orbit the central one and the other two.
Yeah.
Okay, so presumably the orbits at times will interfere with each other when the stars are moving.
Yeah, some of the orbits aren't consistent, so some of the planets sort of roam a little tiny bit.
And that actually makes a lot of sense for certain scenes in the series, like when you're on the core worlds, it has kind of a blue feel to it, and then a lot of the outer worlds have a red feel to them. And I think actually they may have overlaid the footage a bit to do that. Now that I think back on it, because like that when they're on that one where they're on that planet with the brothel that's all covered in tinfoil.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's kind of red on that planet.
Black and white, red all over. Why can't I do that? You won't let me copy what I want to copy. Alright, maybe it'll let me copy that. No, why can't I copy and paste that?
I don't know.
Okay, let me do that though.
Wait, Dave, are you in the chat still?
Okay, the white sun is the central star of the verse, around which the star orbits core planets, also known as White Sun System, as well as four additional stars. Okay, I only noticed two in the thing.
You send me a link to this.
I shall.
Send it in the twits, and I'll have a read of it later.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but yeah. But yeah.
I think somebody's made a mod for Star Wars Empire at War that turns it into a Firefly game.
Really?
I think so.
Huh. Different.
Oh, Dave is sleeping apparently.
What did?
I was gonna ask if he's you know the thing that StreamYard does where it does this?
Yeah.
I was wondering if he's got an idea for the StreamYard tidy where you can do this.
Okay. Well, that was one of the things we were talking about. It's one of the program. It's the program that I'm currently working on. It won't. Yeah, it won't just do that though. It'll also do handle super chats and play sounds when certain things happen in the chat and that. So
maybe what I'll do is put a screen grab of the chat in the corner.
You can do that. Didn't we have this discussion yesterday?
We may have done.
We may have, just a little bit. How long have we been going?
Nearly 2 hours.
Nearly 2 hours, Badger.
Yeah. So sci-fi. What else we got?
Oh, I don't know. What else do I like to watch? Or have I watched movies?
Have you seen Black Mirror? Any of the episodes of Black Mirror?
I have not. People keep telling me I should, but I haven't watched it yet. I've watched Altered Carbon.
I haven't seen Altered
The
Carbon.
first season. I haven't watched all of the second season though. I fell asleep.
I have strongly mixed feelings about Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's interesting, and I think it's quite well written, or at least the bits I've seen of it. I haven't seen all of it. I've only seen some of it. But every episode of it that I've seen has messed me up psychologically for like several days afterwards.
Oh.
And
come?
I think part of that is that I was watching it with a friend of mine, and every time I would go around to visit him, he would pick out an episode for me to watch. And I think he was deliberately picking episodes that he knew would fucking mess me up.
You're a prick. He's a prick. You know he's a prick.
Oh, yeah, he knows he's a prick.
Hey, if people think I'm washed out now.
There's
Like
one
I can do this.
Oh no.
I can't do that. It won't work.
There's one episode of it where... are you planning to watch Black Mirror?
There we go.
Oh dear.
Very white.
Oh dear. Okay, there's one episode of Black Mirror where there's this infection.
See, I told you, I can look like, if I get enough light on my face. Well, no, that looks dreadful. But if I get the right amount of light, it looks like my eyebrows make me look like a Vulcan.
Oh yeah, they do. But you're smiling too much.
Yeah.
I don't think you could play a Vulcan. Your eyebrows are right.
No, it's only logical.
No, you fucking the corners of your mouth are just look at me, I'm smiling.
I could have a. Oh, I could be a. What's the other ones that same heritage as the Vulcan?
Romulans.
You should know this.
It's the Romulans.
Romulans, thank you. I could do Romulans. They smile sometimes, usually before they're about to stab you with something, but they just smile.
Romulans are fun. What was I going to
Stabby.
What was I going to say?
What were you going to say?
I don't know. I was talking about Black Mirror, wasn't I?
You were talking about Black Mirror before I sidetracked you.
There's an episode of Black Mirror. It was the first one I saw, where there's the premise is that there's soldiers and they have like a built-in to their brain heads-up display.
Huh?
And
why?
I'm getting to that. Now there's these creatures that they're portrayed as like subhuman monsters. They've got like pointy teeth and ugly faces, and the soldiers are there to eradicate these monsters. They're doing that, and as they're doing that, one of the soldiers finds this woman and this child in a house, tries to get them out safely, and can't understand why the other soldiers are trying to kill them.
Is that because his heads-up display was broken?
It turns out his heads-up display was broken, and all the other soldiers are seeing them as monsters when they're actually just people.
Oh.
But they're people that the powers that be don't want to be around anymore. They're the unclean. They're the other.
So they're making the soldiers see people as monsters so they can kill the people.
Yeah, so that they don't question it.
Well, that's fucked up.
Oh, it gets worse. It gets more fucked up. So
it gets more fucked up.
One of the people made this device with like a little flashing light that will essentially implant a software into the heads-up display that hacks it and deactivates it. That's why this guy was then seeing them as they were, rather than as he was supposed to be seeing them.
Yeah.
when they discover, when the powers that be discover that that's what's happened, because he now knows and he's trying to do something about it, they take him into custody, interrogate him starting off in a friendly way with a kind of a psychiatrist figure there trying to talk him through it. And when they sort of figure out that he's not going to play along with them, they say to him, right, well, we have from your heads-up display recordings from first person of you killing every person that you thought was a monster at the time that you killed during this conflict. We will make you watch these on repeat for the rest of your life unless you play along with us.
Cruel.
Yeah, so that one fucking messed me up for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And there's some other ones that messed me up for a couple of days. And there's only one that I've seen that has what can be considered a happy ending.
So it's very much in the style of Twilight Zone.
So I've heard, yeah, although I haven't seen Twilight Zone, so I can't confirm that.
Yeah, Twilight Zone was good. There was another show like that too, which I can't remember what it was called. Yeah. So what else has there been? Good sci-fis.
Well, while we're here,
what do you think of the remake of Lost in Space?
I never got super into the original Lost in Space.
I was the same. I thought it was a load of crap, and the movie version they made of it was also a load of crap.
You see, I saw the movie version, and I enjoyed the movie version, but when I try to rewatch it more recently, it's kind of okay. But I enjoyed it at the time.
What was that?
Have they done something more recent? Because I'm a little bit out of.
Yeah, no, but there's a Netflix one. Remake.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But, it's alright. It's not brilliant.
Okay.
I won't spoil it for you. But what else has I've seen recently? There was a show that came out about aliens landing on Earth, and they send out their new ship to go in and, well, not the aliens, but the aliens send their ship to Earth, and so we send out our first interstellar ship to go and find out more about them. So they go out and exploring deep space, and
I haven't seen.
Turns out they're a warring species, like a species that sent this probe to Earth, etc. And yeah.
What?
I can't remember what the fuck it's called, but it was.
I don't think I've seen that one. Here's a question: what do you think of District 9?
I actually quite enjoyed District 9. It was a weird ass movie, though. Another movie that was like that was the one with the Chappie, the robot.
The robot with the eyebrows.
Does he have eyebrows? No.
I think we're talking about a different robot.
Where's Chappie? Here we go. Let's find some pictures.
Well, while we're here, District 9, I thought was very interesting. I forgot where I was going with this. But
where were you going with that?
Man. Yeah, I'm curious, so I can't think about District 9 now. Here we go. What do we got?
That's Chappie.
Oh, with the punching. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've seen like little things about it, and yet yeah, I
Because
know.
it's directed by the same guy, so it's in
Oh
the
shit!
similar vein to District
Okay.
9.
Oh, we're
That's okay.
back
We
to
don't
this.
need that anymore.
Um.
So yeah, my all right,
Oh, was it
my
you?
thing. Sorry.
Carry on. I'm trying to get the name in my
Yeah,
head.
it was directed by the same person who directed District 9, so it's similar sort of thing
Uh
with the style of it. So I really quite liked it.
huh. Okay. What's it about? I know it's about a robot.
Yeah, it's about a robot. Well, these robots have been developed as sort of a security system.
Okay.
Uh, this particular one, yeah, it's almost number 5. No, Johnny 5.
Oh
It's
yeah,
got short
that's the
circuit.
one with the eyebrows I was thinking of.
Yeah, Johnny 5 from Short Circuit. Um, so Chappie, kind of, yeah, um, sort of runs amok. There's something happens that messes up. I can't remember what it is because it's been a couple of years since I've seen the movie.
There it
Um,
is. I found it. There's this YouTube channel called Dust,
yeah, Dust.
and it does a whole load of like science fiction short films.
Cool.
And I was watching them with a friend of mine a while ago, and a lot of them were really good.
Oh, cool. I'll have to have
But
a look.
I haven't really kept up with it recently. I
But
have to
yeah,
catch up with some of these that
he comes a bit of a cropper with his programming, and these people who are basically low level drug dealers
okay.
find him and
Not
decide
even
that they'll reprogram him to help them do their drug deal.
not even good drug dealers, fucking low level ones.
Yeah, not even good drug dealers. But in the process of doing that, they teach him more about actually being a human, so he makes friends with them. And
Okay.
the guy who does most of the reprogramming of him, and everything becomes his really good friend. And Chappie figures out how to back up the human brain. Clever
Okay.
robot. So he backs his friends up. And when the guy who helped reprogram him and gets shot and killed, Chappie re-uploads him to a new body, a
Oh,
robotic
nice.
body. So
Interesting.
this guy ends up a robot as well, and there's sort of the story goes on that way. And then by the end of it, there's 2 other characters in it, a female character and another guy. Both of them die, and Chappie uploads the girl as well.
You get roboted.
Not the other one because the other guy's an asshole, and Chappie just wouldn't do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So the story sort of ends with Chappie and 2 humans that have been revived as robots, making their way in
Nice.
the world.
I might have to
But yeah,
have a look at this.
it's quite an interesting story.
Yeah. All right. While we're talking science fiction films, what did you think? Well, let me put it this way: Blade Runner.
I loved Blade Runner. I didn't like the sequel, but I liked Blade Runner.
That was going to be my question. What did you think of 2049? Do that.
It didn't have the right feel to it.
Do that face again.
I mean, it was okay, but as soon as you put Blade Runner on it, it goes, oh no, it wasn't great.
do that. I'm thinking about 2049 face again.
It's like, yeah, it's like, oh no, no, it's not.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Blade Runner.
Yeah, I still enjoyed 2049. It just wasn't Blade Runner.
It was not the same thing.
No.
I enjoyed it as a thing, but I will admit,
Yeah,
I
if you
had,
forgot that it was supposed to be a sequel to this thing, it was an
yeah,
okay thing.
I could see where you come from there. I could kind of enjoy it as a sequel to it, but it was still kind of not quite.
Yeah,
They took in
no problem
directions
with it.
that I think were not quite fitting for the original in some places, but I enjoyed it still.
Yeah,
Also, for fuck's sake, you had to, didn't you?
bet your eyes.
Right.
Bet your eyes.
The bit you know the bit in Blade Runner. I
Mm.
can't fucking handle things involving eyes in films. You know the bit where he goes to see Tyrell in his bedroom?
Mm.
I can't fucking watch that bit. Whenever I rewatch Blade Runner, he gets out the lift and I just fucking nope, not looking,
Nope, not watching that.
not watching. Until I hear that he's back in the lift again, I'm not fucking looking.
Fair enough. I get that.
Just I can't be fucking dealing with that.
Can't have that shit. What else? Fifth Element.
Ooh. There's a lot that I like about the Fifth Element.
I'm kind of the same with it. It's like, yeah, it's got some really good themes to it. Special effects are brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the story's good, but it's just got bits of it that just feel like that you've got bits of story surrounded by bits of art.
Yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so it doesn't quite flow right as a story. It's like it flows more like a documentary.
I'm kind of with the Fifth Element. I really like it, but the but with it is it goes to just some weird places at times, and I'm just there, kind of like I'm not quite sure I can quite go with you to that place.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Trying to think of what are some other good sci-fi films or
There is that
TV
one bit though, with good fortune for you, Mr. Dallas. You are fired.
yeah. What else has been?
I want to go back to 2049 for a minute.
Sorry?
I want to go back to 2049 for a minute.
2049?
Yeah, Blade Runner.
Yep.
You know Adam Savage?
Yeah.
Well,
not personally, but yes, I know who you mean.
There's one thing that I really enjoyed about 2049, which was
Yeah.
watching Adam Savage go behind the scenes and see all the props.
Oh yeah.
Because
seeing Adam Savage geek out at anything like that is just fucking amazing.
If I ever want to just feel good about things, I just watch Adam Savage dealing with like, yeah. Like I watch him. I watch a video where he shows the process of him making the original Blade Runner gun, or something like that, and he's just got that. I love Adam Savage.
Yeah, me too. It's one of those people I'd really love to be able to interview at some point.
Yeah. I would. It's
if I'm ever lucky enough to actually nail that, Padgy, you can help me interview him.
Yes, please. he's just. The thing with Adam Savage is he's a very competent person. He's worked for years making props stuff and doing things, but he's never lost that childlike wonder at everything
No,
he does.
it's so gorgeous to watch. It's like, oh my god.
And it's
But I get that. I mean, there are things that I can feel like that about.
yeah.
So,
And it used to be Star Wars for me, and then fucking Disney happened.
got an example of that, okay? I don't make any bones. I'm quite a big Doctor Who fan. I like my Doctor Who. I like a lot of the extended stuff as well, and that. But I would really, really like to smack Chibnall around with a really heavy object for how he ended up the last season.
I used to be a big Doctor Who fan. I actually have 2 sonic screwdrivers in view of myself at the moment.
Awesome. Well, I was going to say, you know, I've got my TARDIS because you can't because of green screen.
Do you hear?
I do. It sounds like a little vibrator.
Now, where was I? I lost interest in Doctor Who when Tennant left.
Really? Oh, no, that was fun.
Right. Here's right. Matt Smith.
Yep.
I think he was a good Doctor. The writing around him was not good. And because of the writing around him as the Doctor, he couldn't take over from Tennant for me.
Yeah, you see, I didn't have the problem that a lot of people had with the writing during Tennant and Capaldi. I quite enjoyed it, so it was different to Davies, but it was still really good as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, it didn't do it for me.
But Chibnall can go suck a camel dick as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if you have seen any of the new stuff.
I've seen a few clips. That's about it.
Okay. I don't have a problem with Jodie as the Doctor. She is an absolutely brilliant actress. She's doing a really brilliant job. Some of the scripts are okay, mostly ones that Chibnall didn't write. My problem is what he's doing with Doctor Who lore, and it's in the same vein as fucking Disney with Star Wars.
Well, for me, a lot of people have an issue with female Doctor. I do not, just because they completely rewrite the DNA every time they regenerate.
Yeah.
They completely physically create themselves each time. Why do they? They look completely different. They're different heights, different facial structures, different skeletal structures. What is to stop them
different personality
switching over between male and female? Why would that be an issue at all?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I don't have a problem as long as the actress is good at the job. And Jodie's been fine at it. I wouldn't say she was outstanding, but I think a lot of that's got to do with scripts.
I haven't seen enough of her to have an opinion on if she is any good. I can't remember really watching her in anything else either, so I don't really have an opinion on whether she as an actor can play the role well. I can't get over the hurdle of trying to get back into it.
Yeah. But so spoiler alert for anybody, what they have done, if you haven't heard already, because you're probably not going to watch it anyway, so I don't care, is, okay, they've brought back the Master again.
Yeah.
And they made him into an arse again, which is fine. But see, this is what I don't get. They've got these two things. They've got Soppy, who ended up soppy and in love with the Doctor, Missy, which was weird in and of itself, but less of a problem with
just to establish that Time Lords could regenerate from male to female.
Yeah. And that's fine. Missy actually was quite a fun character, to be honest, in that sense. But if you look at Sims Master and now the new guy's Master, we they're not the Master like the Master was in the original, in the classic here. Yes, the Master was an evil, well, not necessarily evil, but self-serving genius. But he wasn't completely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And that is how the Master has been portrayed in New Who. Batshit fucking crazy.
He was a bit insane, but he was not. He wasn't like the Joker. He was.
Yeah.
He was a calculating individual who was just. He was a psycho. He was a psychopath.
Yeah. So what happens is the Master in this case goes back to Gallifrey, finds out some information about the Doctor that made him go nutso and kill every other Time Lord. Now, not forgetting the fact that it would be fucking difficult for the Master to actually do that. Even, kill all the Time Lords on Gallifrey.
Uh-huh.
When Daleks couldn't do that.
Uh-huh.
So that's fucked up to start off with. Anyway, he kills them all.
Yep.
Then he gets the Doctor, tricks the Doctor. Well, not tricks Doctor, tricks some humans, mostly, actually, not the Doctor, to bring a group of Cybermen to Gallifrey.
Mm-hmm.
And then turns the dead Time Lords into new Cybermen who can regenerate.
Okay.
So you kill a Cyberman and it regenerates and comes back to life.
Right.
Which is kind of fucked up, but okay.
It kind of doesn't work.
Keep going with me here. Now, the whole story behind why he gets pissy and kills all the Time Lords is because apparently the Doctor isn't a Time Lord now. The Doctor is another alien species, which the young Gallifreyans discovered. Well, young as in their timeline.
Yeah.
Discovered that she could, because she started out as she could regenerate. So they copied they sat and studied the Doctor and figured out how this worked and incorporated those genes into their own genome.
Yeah, I'm never going to go back to watching Doctor Who.
And on top of that, they've made Hartnell now not the first incarnation of the Doctor. God knows how many she has before. She never needed a new set of regenerations because, unlike Time Lords, she doesn't have a limit, apparently. She can regenerate forever. What they were doing was erasing her memory so she wouldn't know that, so she'd think she was a Time Lord. So contrived, stupid, and fucking with all the lore of Doctor Who. Pissed off. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm never going to go back to watching Doctor Who.
But the best part of Chibnall's thing, steampunk Dalek.
I liked steampunk Dalek when it was a fan thing.
Oh, they actually did a steampunk Dalek. Wow, it sort of looked steampunky. It wasn't really completely steampunky, but it was sort of had the look. It was actually one of the better episodes of Chibnall's Doctor Who, but he didn't write it, so that kind of explains that.
I'm just sad.
Yeah. So they've kind of destroyed Doctor. He's kind of wrecked Doctor Who to a large extent. After they went to all the effort to bring the Time Lords back again after the Time War and everything, he goes and fucks it all up. It's like, I've got to be better than everybody else. So fuck you, Chibnall. You're an absolute cunt.
Yeah, I'm just not going to fucking watch it anymore.
Yeah. If Dave was in the chat, he'd be going nuts about it at the moment.
Yeah. I just... Oh, fuck off.
Anyway,
See,
we've been
I
going
got
for
really-
2.5 hours, and I'm nearly falling asleep here.
I got really into Torchwood. Torchwood was my thing.
I like
It was
Torchwood.
what was going on.
I like the TV series. I didn't like the special,
I haven't seen the special.
the American one.
I haven't seen it because I've seen a few clips and just went, nah, fuck that.
No, it wasn't great. I didn't mind the specials that the BBC did. They were okay. But the whole American tie-in bit for Torchwood was just stupid as far as I was concerned.
But I liked the show, Torchwood. And then I liked how it was linked back into Doctor Who for that special crossover they did.
Yeah.
So they had Captain Jack reappear for a couple of episodes with Tennant, and I like that. And they built up all this kind of mythos around the David Tennant Doctor and all the stuff he was doing. And then Matt Smith took over, and the writing went downhill. At least from my perspective, it went downhill quite a bit. I was not into it. I was not enjoying it anymore. I could enjoy Matt Smith as the Doctor. I thought he was eccentric enough, but also with the right level of self-assuredness to play the Doctor. And I also thought that he was. I thought he was. Part of the issue was I don't think he was different enough from Tennant. He was a completely distinct Doctor, but I think he was similar enough to Tennant that he shouldn't have directly followed Tennant.
Yeah, maybe.
At least for me, because it was very difficult for me to get into Matt Smith as the new Doctor, because the writing was not as good. He was just too similar to David Tennant for me to let David Tennant go, and I'd got very attached to him as the Doctor.
One of the biggest problems of Matt Smith was a lot of the episodes that were in his first season were actually written for Tennant.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
So they were written before it was 100% decided that David was leaving. So then they were quickly reconned to go with a new Doctor. So people were writing to a set of traits that were known for the other Doctor. So it took the whole next season to into the next season for the style of Doctor that Matt was going to play to really rise to the surface.
Okay,
but
that kind of makes sense.
That often happens in Doctor Who. It can take most of a season or into the next season for a Doctor to actually start to.
They've got to get used to playing the character as well. They've got
to get used to the character. The writers have to get used to the fact that they're writing for a different Doctor. You know, it's one of those things.
I kind of liked Capaldi, but I didn't.
I loved Capaldi. I thought he was awesome.
I didn't like the writing around him.
Yeah.
It got more and more. I managed to get back into it to watch a couple of episodes of Capaldi, and I was like, "Oh, this guy, I kind of like him." Oh, that's going on around it. Okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
And I can't get back into it anymore.
Yeah. Unless of course they're actually going to fix what Chibnall's done, I wouldn't be trying to.
Yeah, my enthusiasm for it is gone, I'm afraid. I can't get it back. I don't know.
Dave's back.
Yeah, there it is. I don't know if I'll be able.
I disagree. I quite like Moffat, so I don't have the same problems that you guys have with Moffat's era. But Chibnall, what he's done at the end of this latest series, Doctor Who, he can, as I said earlier, he can go suck a camel dick.
Yeah, I don't think, at least for a while, I'm not going to be able to get back into it. I don't know if I ever will be able to.
Yeah, I'm hoping at some point they get somebody who can retcon what Chibnall's done.
Well, at least with Doctor Who, they've got a fucking it's a messy
They've
time
got
travel.
time travel. They can undo it. They can do a Deus Ex Machina, whatever.
It's a
However you say
messy
it.
continuity time travel show, so they could just
Yes.
go, "Oh, that was actually not what happened, but it was all like a fucking thing that happened in the master's head or something."
Yeah. The Doctor's modified the timeline now, and it won't happen.
Yeah. So they could retcon that whole thing out of existence in universe, which is something like.
All right. Despite what you might say about Moffat, Moffat's shittiest episodes are not as shitty as Chibnall's.
You might be
I don't
right.
know what Chibnall thinks he's doing. That he's fucked it.
You might be right, but I can't get back into it.
Don't
Moffat,
try. It's not worth
Moffat
it.
killed it for me.
Yep.
And from everything I've seen of the Chibnall ones, it's Moffat killed it. Chibnall's dancing on the grave.
And the thing that really frustrates me about it with Chibnall is that I quite enjoy Jodie's take on the Doctor, but Chibnall has it is purely just Chibnall that's fucked it. So, yeah.
At some point, maybe if you could link me or just give me titles of some of the non-Chibnall episodes that you think are better written,
so you can get an idea. Well, I watched the Dalek New Year special from
I wouldn't mind
not last
trying
New
to
Year's,
get
the one before.
I wouldn't mind trying to get a feel of Jodie as the Doctor. But
yep, there's a couple of really good ones that are good for getting an idea of what she's like. There were a couple of good ones actually from this last season, which I really enjoyed. If you can leave aside the stupid other crap he was trying to do. But he doesn't always bring it into all the other episodes, so you can watch around it.
Yeah, I've got the same problem with some of my online roleplay stuff.
Yeah, Dave's right. There is one episode that's absolutely brilliant if you ignore the last 10 minutes of it. It was a really good episode. I go, this is one of the best episodes I've seen for a long time in Doctor Who. Great. Oh, crap. Why did they do that? They've totally fucked the entire episode.
Okay, here's a question for you. Before, up until the end of David Tennant, let's go that far and no further into the Doctor Who continuity. Favorite companion?
Oh, okay. So only companions up and including David Tennant's.
Yeah,
and you're including Classic Who?
Yeah, let's include Classic Who.
Ace.
Now, remind me which one Ace was.
Ace is the one who beat the Dalek to death with a baseball bat.
Who was the Doctor at the time?
Sylvester McCoy.
Sylvester McCoy, Doctor.
Yes, I know he's not everyone's favorite Doctor, but Ace I loved as a companion.
I want to get the face because I remember a lot of them by face, but not name.
She used to call the Doctor Professor instead of Doctor.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
yeah. I had to look up the face because a lot of them I don't remember by name.
Dorothy
yep.
Gale.
Yep. She was pretty good.
She was good.
I'm trying to think who my favorite. It's probably going to be from the
older Sarah Jane, as in the Sarah Jane from Sarah Jane Adventures, than her when she was playing Sarah Jane younger.
Yeah. What about it was better for you?
Oh, I just think the maturity of Elizabeth Sladen as an actress, by the time she came back to do it when she was older, just she could do gravitas and she could really portray what she was trying to put through into everything. So I know that she was a bad actress when she was younger. It's just she was so much more dynamic in the role when she came back to it.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to say that Captain Jack is my favorite.
I like Jack as well, yeah.
But if I had
I
to,
never think of him as a companion, though.
if I had, well, he did hang around with the Doctor for a bit, but I
Yeah,
don't think I would also class him as like a proper companion. But if I had to
yeah.
pick a proper one, hang on. See, I'm right.
Yep.
But oh shit. Dave, stop saying stuff. I'm trying to click to just make the other one go away, and you keep moving it. Right. What was this? Um,
Rose.
Rose is okay. I thought Rose
Yeah,
got.
that's how I feel about Rose. I liked.
I thought Rose got a bit blown out of proportion for what she was.
I liked Martha.
Yeah,
You go
I
in
liked Martha. I really liked it when she appeared on Torchwood.
Yeah.
But
I think Martha was my favorite of Tennant's companions.
at the time, I wasn't quite so into it. But looking back on it, I really liked Donna.
I liked Donna too, but she was fucking annoying.
Yeah, that's why I say looking back on it.
Yeah, if you're rewatching them, she's a lot easier to put up with than the first time round. Because you know where everything's going and why she's the way she is. So you tend to put up with a lot more shit from her because of that. But
Yeah.
screw you, Dave.
Yeah, but I do like Donna. I like Martha as well. I like how Martha was introduced
Yes.
with the teleport the hospital to the moon.
Which is just a ridiculous idea for a story. And the fact that they teleported it back and it still worked. No!
All the plumbing still goes.
Yep.
We've teleported back, but we've got a massive fucking leak in the plumbing.
And the whole building's going to fall over now because the entire foundations were undermined on this 6-story building. It's as bad as Superman flying a building out.
Yeah. They're not made for that. But at least in Doctor Who, you could argue that they have like nano machines or something to rebuild all the joins.
Yeah.
Whereas Superman doesn't have nano machines.
No, Superman extends his field of invulnerability around an object. Yeah, that was how they explained it.
Fuck, right.
In other words, bullshit, Superman rules bullshit.
Of invulnerability. He's just fucking Superman. Right. I'm trying to think of a pre, the old Who companion that I like.
I'm amazed you didn't say Leela.
Now remind me which one that is.
The Savage.
Oh, my brain is dead. Hang on.
The one who showed entirely too much skin.
I can't spell.
Leela.
Oh, her. Yeah, no.
Joe Grant was interesting.
She's not for me.
What about Susan?
I'm having to Google the faces to put them to the.
The Doctor's granddaughter, Susan.
Yeah.
See, now this is the thing. If the Doctor wasn't a Time Lord, how does he have a granddaughter?
Because fucking Chibnall's a dumbass.
It's fucked up. Look, Chibnall, get your cock out. I want a mallet, and we're going to teach you a fucking lesson.
Um. Oh, the military guy. For the second.
Lethbridge Stewart.
Yeah, the second and third Doctors.
Oh, all of them really. The only one who'd never. Oh no, even the first Doctor met him. Yep.
Yeah,
He met all
more
the
prominent
Doctors.
as the second and third. I like that guy.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's awesome. He definitely counts as a.
I'm going with him. Going with him for old Who companions.
Dave, you want to what it? Smash it with a mallet.
No, Dave, we couldn't have done all the Doctor Who before the Star Wars crap, because the Star Wars crap is the main thing.
Yep. You want to do the Doctor Who? Well, we'll have to do a different night.
All right, I'll tell you what, Dave. You fucking organise a chat with me and with Jen, and we'll do the whole Doctor Who thing.
Well, why don't you do one of your quizzes all about Doctor Who? Anyway, Badger.
Yeah.
Nearly 3 hours. It's nearly 3 a.m. I think I probably should go to bed.
We should do this again sometime, and I'll put you in the little square.
Yeah. Yes, we'll have to do that.
Once my actual computer works.
When your actual computer is actually working.
as opposed to having to actually use StreamYards as intended, like a peasant.
For my background, I should have got you to send me part of your background, and I could have made it look like we were sitting on the same stardate.
Well, maybe we'll do that next time. I could have like a screen.
I can't give it anymore, Captain.
I could have like a screen on the spaceship with you on.
Hang on. I can't give it anymore, Captain.
All right. I think we shall wrap it up.
Yeah.
So, who are you? Tell everybody in the audience who already knows who you are. Who
okay.
You are,
well, everyone in the audience who already knows me, I'm Jen from Jen's Little Corner. I did today. I put out two things. There was the discussion with Shannon Q and Raven about depression and coping with it, especially during COVID. And I put out a video later on about this dumb woman who thinks it's a really good idea to drink vinegar, but then she doesn't really drink vinegar because she's this dumb bitch and she only puts about 3 drops of vinegar in a huge glass of water.
Oh, so she drinks homeopathic vinegar.
Yeah, she drinks homeopathic vinegar and thinks it does her good.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. You gotta love these stupid people. I should have another video out before the end of the week, and I'm actually hoping I'll do a science stream at some point this week. But I've got to come up with some good stuff to talk about, and maybe get a couple of people on to discuss the stuff I talk about with afterwards. So.
Well, I'll fucking come and discuss it with you, but I'm not an expert. But
I'm an expert.
You know more than me. I have a relatively good science education up to like pre-university level, and then I've just read stuff. I'm not a fucking professional.
Well, I mean. My
degree
in computer science and maths. I'm not a science. I don't have a science degree either.
Technically, I do have a science degree because computer science.
Well, yeah, I suppose I do too. Then.
Yeah. Although mine's not quite the same. It was officially IT support, but what it actually says on the certificate is computer science.
Yeah, well, it's still part of the computer science field, but mine was in programming, so. analytical systems design and management.
Properly. I always hated programming.
Look, I love programming. I hate programming now because it's been so many years since I've actually done anything other than write utilities.
Why are you doing programming for YouTube stuff as a hobby right now?
Because I want these tools. I want to have nice fancy chats.
Put a screen grab of the chat in the corner.
You said that before, Badger. You're starting to repeat yourself.
Right. Now, you've met me before.
Funny
I think anyone who's seen more than one of my things will know that repeating myself is like a fucking major thing that I do. It's most of everything that all of my ability to talk to people is because I say things that I already know how to say.
And you're so good at it.
You can tell when I'm saying. Thank you. You can tell when the thing that I'm trying to say is not planned, because I will do like a flowery introduction to it that is almost the same every time, while my brain like forms sentences, and then the sentences will have my stammering going throughout them, which apparently people like. like throughout this stream, for example, when you've just said something that I have something to say on, but it's not planned. So it's, well, you see, the thing about that is, and then I'll be there going, Princess Leia.
Yeah. You're not the only one who does that, though. Yeah, god damn it. I'm tired. My thing is to start off strong, get to a point, and then suddenly realize I have no idea where I was going with this train of thoughts.
Yep.
Quick, make something up.
It's just wonderful when you have like a sentence going. You're on a roll. You're halfway through the sentence, and you just realize that you've overtaken your thought process, and you just you don't know what you're talking about anymore. You're there like, well, you see, the thing about
it's even worse than that, because when you get to that point that you've got ahead of where your thoughts were, then you hit the panic point, and you don't know what you were trying to say. So you'll stumble for a few words trying to find your footing, and then by the time you get to that point, you now no longer know what you were actually talking about.
You're there like this. You just going like, well, you see, the thing about the continuity of Doctor Who is that it started off with Tom Baker. No, oh fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Or you'll throw yourself off because you get in the middle of it, and you want to talk about this thing that you know all this stuff about, but you don't know what it's called. You don't know who it was who played this person. If you're talking about something in a movie, and you go, oh fuck! So now I've got to try to explain to you who the fuck I'm talking about, and I've got no words for it.
Yep. Right. Go to bed.
Night, everyone.
Oh, thanks for coming, everyone. Good night.
Night.